2022 was the deadliest year for Palestinians in 16 years. Over 200 killed, 34 children killed. 2023 has started off even worse. Every single morning, we wake up to more stories of Palestinians who have been murdered by Israel. The wanton and often unprovoked killing of Palestinians by Israelis is met only with silence by the rest of the world. Both the British government and the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, are not just ignoring the slide into fascism in Israel, are not just ignoring the daily murders and atrocities by the Israelis against the Palestinians, but by silencing any voices in solidarity with Palestine, in silencing any criticism of Israel of any form, they are enabling, facilitating, and greasing the wheels of what is being done by Israel today. We have this extraordinary, quite Orwellian situation where members of Netanyahu's far-right government proudly describe themselves as fascists. But when a Labour member of Parliament in Britain says,
since the election of the fascist Israeli government in December last year, there has been an increase in human rights violations against Palestinian civilians, including children.
Her leader, Keir Starmer, demands that she make a public apology and retraction. It is as if the fascists can call themselves fascists, but we can't call them fascists. What a world we live in, when words are treated as being more wrong, more violent, more dangerous than actual systemic racist and fascist violence. A Holocaust survivor was forced out of the British Labour Party because he wanted to attend a Holocaust memorial event that was being hosted by left-wing groups. What have our politics come to when somebody who has endured the horrors of the Holocaust, who wants to memorialize those horrors and make real and live the phrase never again, is told by what is supposed to be a center-left political party that he cannot do so, that he cannot commemorate with those he chooses to, in the way that he chooses to, and that so doing is incompatible with membership of the Labour Party. This is the exact definition of cancel culture, and yet silence. Where are all the free speech warriors on this issue? We have an extraordinary political situation in the world at the moment where fascists who occupy the Capitol in Washington, D.C., wear T-shirts emblazoned with Camp Auschwitz, standing right next to people holding the Israeli flag. How is this happening in our politics? It's sadly very simple. Israel has become the poster child of an awful right-wing variant of ethno-nationalist political project. From Bolsonaro in Brazil, Viktor Orban in Hungary, Modi in India. They all see Israel as a state that defines itself in ethno-nationalist terms, which is what they all want to be able to do. They see Israel as an ideal towards which they should strive, even though a number of them are deeply anti-Semitic in all definitions of the term that anyone might want to use. So Israel finds itself as the fulcrum around which this reactionary, fascist, ethno-nationalist project has taken root. It's also important to understand that the Western media has played an absolutely central and hegemonic role in reflecting Israel's 50-plus years of existence in a very positive and uncritical manner.
The Israelis would say that the Palestinians bear some responsibility for the security situation in Israel as well.
You know, that is such a predictable question. I could have written it myself, because not only has one of the holiest places been raided twice in a row, not only have 93 Palestinians been killed since the start of the year, not only has the town of Hawara been subjected to a Jewish pogrom, and even if no Palestinians were killed, millions of us continue to live under a brutal regime of apartheid, under a brutal regime of military occupation, both internationally recognized. There are 2 million Palestinians that live besieged in an open-air prison in the Gaza Strip. How much violence is enough violence for people to retaliate? Let me ask you this, Christian. If somebody invaded your home and attacked your family, what would you do?
The ways in which the killings of Palestinians by Israel are dealt with in that media would be absolutely horrifying in many other situations we find ourselves in, including in the Ukraine today. It is seen as noble and right for occupied Ukrainians to defend themselves against Russia.
They've sort of grated the styrofoam and they're now putting it into the bottles. The styrofoam works to make the Molotov cocktail sticky, to help it stick to vehicles, to other targets as well. You can see them grating it.
So why is it not right for Palestinians to defend themselves against their occupier, Israel? We're encouraged to support Ukraine, to fly Ukrainian flags. But football clubs have been fined for supporters flying the Palestinian flag and reported to schools under prevent as terrorist sympathizing.
Babies and children are getting killed for no reason at all in Palestine.
You've got your racist views, take them somewhere else because they're not welcome here.
Why this total difference for Ukraine and for Palestine? Apartheid South Africa was often described as colonialism of a special type. And I think that Israel too falls into that bracket, a quite unique kind of colonialism. But it is, without doubt, a form of settler colonialism, as a consequence of which we have to ask ourselves, is this not some relic of the long ago past, of a history that we've moved beyond? And why is so much of the world allowing this form of settler colonialism to flourish and grow in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories? The mainstream media is failing us. It no longer calls out injustice. It no longer calls out fascism. To find out what is really going on in the world, support independent media. Support Double Down News on Patreon.